Hello and welcome back to Totally Car Mad. Unless, of course, this is your first visit here and then a welcome for the first time. Hope to see you back again. Today's video is a bit different to our usual, the best in this section or the fastest in that section. We're going to have a little look at the Boxster 986, a car I know very well. I've had one of these for about 4 years now, maybe 4 or 5. It was my first Porsche car, and for many people, it's their first step into Porsche ownership. It's affordable, it's fun. If it doesn't work for you, then you can move it on. You're not investing huge sums of money in it, and they seem to sell fairly well over the summer months. Obviously, not so much in the winter. So now is the time that these things are moving a bit more freely. So let's have a look at what is on Auto Trader right now. Our usual criteria of sub 100,000 miles, just so we get a tighter feel for the price band. Obviously, there are outliers, higher mileage, but you want something nice, usable, without a lot of trouble that you can sell on again. So that sub 100,000 mile mark, I think, helps buy well and sell well. We're looking at the S model, which is the bigger 3.2 litre engine with a 6-speed manual or obviously a Tiptronic box. The non-S standard model is a 2.7 litre with a 5-speed manual or obviously tip. So we're going to dive right in and have a look what you can get. I'll talk you through some of the pros and cons along the way. So first of all, this is a car featured in another video in our fastest convertibles under 5k, because you can see for just under 5k you can get into a sub 100,000 mile Boxster 3.2 S. This is a nice color, this blue. Most of them seem to be silver. Mine is silver. The blue is a nice color. It's got the GT3 style wheels, which I've actually got on my 911. They're very popular wheels, so if you didn't like this style, you can usually get good money for those wheels. It's still got the famous gingicators, the fried egg headlights. Some people prefer the clear lens. On mine, I've got the gingers. On my 911, I've got clears, and I think actually I prefer good old gingicators. But that's kind of part of the charm of these Boxsters. Needs a bit of a clean. Gonna give it a clean for the photo shoot, but looks pretty straight. Otherwise, it's one of those where it's hard to tell if it's good from far from good and good from afar, or in photos you can't really tell, can you? But looks tidy, no major damage. Wheels look okay. It's got the grey interior with a black wheel. It hasn't got one of the crazy Boxster red or nephrite interiors or something like that, or kind of tobacco tan or something weird. Looks to be in nice order. It's got a non-standard stereo. You can still get the original ones, and also I think it's Blaupunkt do a modern stereo which looks very much like the original. If you want to try and keep that original look, you can go for one of those Blaupunkts that will give you all the modern stuff but with the look of the original. Seat bolsters and that obviously get a bit of a sliding in and out as you climb in and out of a Boxster. Quite easy to get stuff to refresh those and bring them up to snuff. Looks a tidy enough example. Very typical. It says on the advert this has got a new hood, which is good news. Mine's got a little wrinkle here and there which just shows up when it's closed, that there's a bit of a gap here and there. I don't get any water through mine, but obviously a new hood is a very nice to have. We just look at the numbers quickly. 0-60 in 5.9 seconds. Top speed of 162 miles an hour. Good luck finding somewhere you can do that. 252 brake horsepower, 305 newton meters of torque, 26.4 miles per gallon. When I'm driving mine on a long steady run, I have had easily 30 plus. If I am driving it spirited, shall we say, I would get lower 20s. But that, for under 100,000 miles, just 3.2 manual, that looks like good price. $5,000 and you're into a Porsche. For those that have heard that it's not a real Porsche and all that kind of rubbish, it is. It absolutely is. The front half of this car is the same as the 911 equivalent. I've got both cars same year. Front end is the same. From the driver's seat backwards, obviously a different car. But you've got half a 911 for way less than half the price. The equivalent 911 is 2002 911 Carrera 2, shall we say, manual. This would probably be 15 to 20 grand. So there you go. For $5,000, you've got half a 911 for a quarter of the price. So that's got to be good, hey? Moving along here a little bit, we've got a slightly newer but lower miles, but a tip. It's also got the kind of aero styling on the bumper and the side skirts. Same wheels, just darker colour. And it's got the clear lenses and not the gingicators. Let's just have a little closer look at this. You can tell the styling is moving on slightly. There's a spoiler on the rear there as well. Yeah. The standard Boxster has a spoiler that retracts down into the bonnet area there. The rear deck lid area, and comes up automatically. I think it's 60 miles an hour. There is a button that you can override that, and you can pop the little spoiler up from standing. But that one has got an aftermarket spoiler on there to give it a bit more of a racy look. Quite a nice, tidy little thing. But the Tiptronic box, not quite as exciting maybe to drive as the manual, but still for $6,000, you're getting into an 85,000 miles 2003 Boxster, which is, I think, it's still incredible value. This one, as you can see, using our AT price tracker app, when it first came on the market, was valued at £7,000. It's dropped 500 quid and 500 quid again, so it's down £1,000 since it came onto the market in April. Now, that looks to me like a pretty good deal. On some of these cars, the headlights do go yellowish. This looks like it's either been very well cared for or these headlights have been restored. They look nice and clear, so that's something to look out for. Now, it is a slightly later model, so 2003. You are into the territory where these have the dreaded single row IMS bearings. If you've ever had a look at owning one of these early Boxsters or 911s, you'll have heard about the IMS bearing. In the very early ones, up to early 2000, they had a dual row IMS. These tend not to detonate your engine. The single row that came in mid 2000 does tend to be a little bit weaker. If you've got a car of 85,000 miles, it probably means it's either already been replaced when a clutch has been done, or it's probably not going to break. But it's just one of those things that you need to know. The IMS bearing on these slightly later cars isn't as strong as the ones on the very early cars. Moving along a little bit. As we move up, are we moving down the mileage scale? Yeah, we're getting into the 70s there. Let's see if we can get down into the 60s. My one is still on 69,000 miles, but only just, I think, 69,800 miles. So we're heading up towards the dreaded turnover to 70,000 miles, which I'll be sad to see. I think I bought the car with 65, 66,000 miles, but, it is what it is. Now, these silver ones look very much like mine. This one here, I've got the same wheels, the same gingicators. This one is only 48,000 miles. Now, the price obviously is only reflecting the low mileage on this car, because it's no different to the other cars we've looked at. It's same as our first one, 3.2 S manual, but it's obviously very low mileage for that year of car. It has actually gone up in price. So whether they are anticipating the kind of summer surge of purchasing, but the car has been as low as £8,000. So unless they've done a massive refresh on it, maybe suspension refresh, then maybe there's some work on the price that you could do there. It says here, just spent £4,000 on this car. New clutch, new IMS bearing, so that's good to know. Gearbox, new MOT. Now, the only thing apart from those big issues that I would be wanting to know is has it in its lifetime had a suspension refresh? These things tend to wear out all the bushings, arms. There's lots of them, tuning forks, coffin arms, top mounts, you name it. They all wear out around the same time. The car starts to knock and clunk and bang and rattle and starts to feel quite loose. Mine was in that category. It started to knock just after I bought it. So last summer, it had the full suspension refresh, new shocks, new springs, top mounts, bottom arms, tuning forks, coffin arms, you name it, the whole shebang. It is now tight as a gnat's bits, but it costs, even if you get a discount code from Spider Performance or wherever you get the parts from, it costs you probably about £2,000 for all the kit, and then it's the time to install it. The old stuff is generally seized on. A lot of it needs persuasion or cutting off, and there's a lot of time goes into refreshing the whole suspension. So it might seem trivial. Oh, there's a bit of a worn bush here and there's a bit of a knock there. But if you want to do the whole thing and do it well, then it's going to cost you a lot of money. So if you can find a Boxster that's had either a partial or a full suspension refresh, then I would say that is something to go for, even more than the IMS bearing, because the IMS bearing can be done when a clutch is done and it's not £4,000, which a full suspension refresh with all the parts and labour could be. So that is probably the thing I'd be looking out for most. The silver ones to me are real classic. That the wheels are silver. I've got these turbo twist wheels on mine with the gingicators. I think that is the typical picture of a Boxster 986.1 that people expect to see. This looks exactly like my car, which will be coming up for sale very soon if anybody is looking for one of these cars in just under 70,000 miles condition. Now, this one I think looks like it has the slightly better option tech equipment, handbrake and gear stick. There is a little, option that Porsche did for those compared with the standard ones. It looks like it's got this kind of silver bevel here. Something that's quite popular to do, which if I do keep mine, I might do, is to respray this center console area. You can quite easily get this out, have it rubbed down and spray it either body color or just have it respray, because they tend to get scratched where all the lids are and the switches and things here. These can start to look a bit shabby. So, but it's not too big a job to get that out, have it resprayed. So that's something that if you buy one, it looks a bit shabby in this area, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Check for water under the passenger seat. Underneath there, you've got stuff for like the alarm and things like that, central locking system. So if water gets down there, I think hood mechanism and things are controlled by units and fuses and things under there. The damper, even if it doesn't directly get into the electronics, it can still cause corrosion on the contacts and things just by it being damp and moist down there, even if it's not directly inside all the electronics. 11.5 grand is a lot of money for one of these cars, but still, if it was a 48,000 mile equivalent year and spec 911, it would be double the money. So, and this has had some of the big jobs done. If it's had suspension done as well, then that's peace of mind. Although I paid a lot less than that for mine, I've had to do the suspension refresh. I've had to replace the alternator. I've had to replace the copper pipes for the power steering on the steering rack, because they leaked. So that was the whole steering rack had to come out. So I've had to do quite a few expensive jobs on mine. Thankfully, my son is a mechanical genius, and at the time of all these big jobs, was renting a unit so he could do a lot of this work for me. So it cost me a few pizzas and the parts, but you can be in for some big bills if you get some of these bigger things. So 11.5 grand might seem steep, but actually, in the long run, very low mileage car, a lot of resale value in that. And if it's had all the big work done, then that saves you. If you're intending to keep one long term, then why not pay a bit more and get one that you don't have to go through all the aggro of having these big jobs done? Peace of mind in there. Let's have a look, see if we can find something lowish mileage with maybe a slightly lower price. See what else we've got there. Maybe a tip or something like that. What have we got down here? So Tiptronic here, that's 93,000 miles. So 61,000 miles. So this is similar territory to mine. Again, silver with gingicators. I'm not keen on the black wheels, to be honest. But, each to their own. You can get loads of really cool wheels to replace them with if you don't like these. Again, they're all very similar inside. When I say options, there aren't that many options that you can get in a Boxster. But nice tidy car, and this is 7.5 grand. So that's 61,000 miles. That's pretty good value. Now again, you need to look into what it's had done. If it's had suspension, if it's had IMS, if it's had an RMS replaced, if it's had a lot of those costly jobs done, then it's worth paying the money. And if it hasn't had those jobs, then you can haggle on the price, because some of these things are big money. Has it had suspension refresh? Oh no, okay, well, that can cost me a lot of money if it starts to knock. Has it had this? Has it had that? No, okay, let's do a deal. It's only come down a couple of £100 so far, so there could be some wiggle room in a car like that. So other things to know about the Boxster, really. It's an incredible drive. It really is. I had mine out last night, and it was a nice, clear night, kind of that golden hour just before sunset. The roads were pretty much empty, and I really gave it the hammer. It is sensational in the corners. It accelerates quicker than you would think. I actually feel more confident in it because of its mid-engine balance and its shorter wheelbase, and it's because mine's had its full suspension refresh. I actually feel more confident in it than I do my 911, which has the engine right out the back and feels a bit more kind of twitchy and edgy when you're throwing it into a corner. I know with the Boxster exactly how hard I can shove it into a corner and still come out the right way around the other side of the corner. This is a car that isn't as quick as a 911, but you can drive it faster, if that makes sense, because you've got more confidence, control, and balance in the car. Actually, for a twisty B-road car, my Boxster is probably more fun to drive, and I can drive it harder than the 911, where I'm just a bit scared that I might do something that puts the back end in front of me. So, also, you've got the engine literally right behind you. So if you hit the hammer, the noise is almost in your spine. You sit with the seat back and the inspection hatch that's behind the seat between you and the engine, which is quite incredible. The 911 engine is obviously a little bit further away. Obviously, the sports mufflers that are available really unlock the sound as well. Standard mufflers make a nice sound once they get higher in the rev range, but they are very gentle on the ear at the lower rev range. But if you get one of these sport mufflers and you don't go crazy with it, you don't get something that just drones your ears off, you can really make these things growl, and when they get up the revs, they do make a fantastic sound. I do not think you can get a more fun two-seater convertible for this kind of money than a Porsche Boxster. If you get one that has been well looked after, well serviced, All of the things we've discussed about the IMS, RMS, suspension refresh, all those good things have been taken care of, and everything's good on it. These are so exciting to drive. They're a Porsche. They've got a front and a brunk. They've got a front trunk and a rear boot. So you've actually got a decent amount of storage. The hood comes down in 5-10 seconds. I don't know. You just hold the button down, off it goes, pull it back, click the lock, and you're good. It's I can't explain how much fun these are unless you've had a go in one. Anyone who tells you it's not a real Porsche, it's a hairdresser's car, blah blah blah, tell them to get stuffed. They've never owned one. Anyone who's owned a Boxster will tell you these are amazing cars. Keep on top of maintenance. Make sure that the things that should be done have been done, and you will buy yourself a whole summer of fun. For $5,000, you can get into a well taken care of car. For 7.5, you can get a 60 odd thousand mile car that hopefully has been well taken care of as well. What's not to love? Thinking about buying a 986? Why not? Why not go for it? Send me a message, ask some advice, drop a comment. I'm here to help. Let's talk. Have fun. Thanks for watching. See you next time.